softball because it's going to be Texas versus Texas Tech in a rematch of last year's national championship game. And one of the people that will be playing a big role tonight is former Rock Island standout Taylor Pannell. Taylor will play third base and hit fifth for the Red Raiders as they look for a national championship. And of course, a Quad City product taking center stage. Everyone should be extremely excited and proud, including this young man right here. And I call you a young man, Chris. Chris Allison at Rock Island joins us. Taylor's former softball coach back at Rock Island. First and foremost, thank you for spending some time on a Wednesday with me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me.
I guess we'll start with just, before we get into a little bit about her journey, college softball night, national championship game, and a young lady from Rock Island is on center stage nationally. What goes through your mind when you hear that?
I think it's great for the Quad Cities. I mean, there's a lot of people that have done some things around here that have gone to stages like this. So being able to have someone that you actually spent time on a diamond with and, working to try to get better in the winter time and then before the season starts, to be able to see someone like Taylor to watch her and perform and actually perform very well at a high level against the best of the best. I mean, the pitchers that she's facing day in and day out in this World Series is unbelievable.
It also sheds some light on softball nationally and in our area as well. Can you talk about that? Because I do think our area is fantastic when it comes to the game of softball. It's continued to get better and better over the years, and we have one of our best players playing on a national stage. What does it do for softball here in the Quad Cities?
Well, I mean, softball in Quad Cities is pretty darn good. I mean, there's a lot of kids that come from here that, maybe don't go to Division I or go to NAIA or go to Division II or go to JUCO and they're going to make it to the World Series. Last year, Gabby Tabor that played for me got to play in the NAIA World Series. Those kids are getting opportunities because softball is so good around here. Now with the TPK now, and I never got to play there with my kids, but it sounds like there's just teams coming in and being able to play different teams, and you really don't have to travel that far. But it's great for Taylor, her family, her former teammates, to be able to see her play on this stage and hopefully perform well, which she has been lately, and I think she'll continue that.
Chris, you look at it, and I remember being a WQAD and people telling me, gosh, I think Taylor was probably in 7th or 8th grade, that, hey, there's a young lady coming up playing softball at Rock Island. It's going to be really, really good. I went to grade school with her mom, and I knew her dad well. When did you hear about Taylor? Obviously, she was, I think, offered in 8th grade or something like that. When did you hear about Taylor, your first interactions with maybe a young Taylor Pannell?
So she actually went to Washington Junior High, so kind of knew in 7th grade and that, and she was playing for the Firebirds when she first started, probably younger when she was probably 7. I think she started with the Milan Aces, I think, way back in the day. And then you just kind of knew the name. And then in 8th grade, we heard that she was committed to Auburn. So it was like, this is not normal, but she had talent and they wanted to offer. That's when things have changed and you could do that. And then things changed as she grew and got a little bit different. Different coaches left. I mean, you got to figure it's 4 or 5 years away from getting to your college, and sometimes things change just because it's the way it happens in college softball, I think.
Absolutely. You get her at Rock Island. Tell us what she was like as a young freshman. I remember doing a feature story on her as a freshman over at WQAD. What was she like when she got to Rock Island? I guess not just softball-wise, but softball-wise and maybe off-the-field-wise when it came. I remember recalling her just being a very quiet young lady when I went to go. Of course, here I am putting a camera in her face as a 14-year-old and asking her questions. What was she like when she got to Rock Island as a softball player and off the field as well?
Well, one of the news stations wanted to do a report on her, but she was only in 8th grade still. And they came to the dugout and said, hey, look for Taylor Pannell. And, 2018 was the year that we won state. And they were like, she's not on the team yet. So,
that was not me. Like, that was not me.
Yeah.
Just so people
know.
No,
it wasn't. No, I'm not going to throw him underneath the bus.
No, of course.
So she came her freshman year and, we were just coming off a state title and she was going to, we had Ashley Peters, who was a Division I recruit for Purdue. She was going to Purdue. We had Lauren Stiegel, who, the ball just exploded off her bat, kind of like Taylor. The ball just jumps off their bats. So she had kind of just to be the freshman and didn't really have to, we already had some leaders and Taylor just kind of just filled the role, jumped in at third base, and we hit her lead off and just let her do her thing, let her follow our seniors. We tried to have our seniors and juniors lead that have been around a while, and Taylor just jumped in and did her thing and didn't say much and got after her work and listened and worked hard and, we didn't expect anything less from her because I know she's always been working hard when she was younger and she was going to continue to do that.
Chris, was there a moment that ball hit off her bat or a hit or a play in practice, or when did you know that she was different and really, really good? I mean, obviously the reputation came with her and the Auburn offer was there, but do you recall any moments where you're just like, okay, that's something we don't see every day?
Well, you could see at practice is fundamentally sound, defensively, which I think she's greatly improved in that area at third base and made some great plays. I mean, where she's got to step back towards the sixth hole and then turn and get that shoulder around and then make a quick throw, because I mean, you got kids that are run down the line, Division I softball nowadays, get down there quick, and I know she's really improved on that. But I think back to a game we kind of struggled a little bit, and then she kind of had a mark on her back because of where she committed here and there, but she hit a ball down the right field line against Rockridge, and it's like, okay, they just kind of just calmed her down a little bit and, got going. It was pretty early in the year, and then she got going, and then, she just came up big times. There's one in Geneseo where they think they maybe were trying to walk her, and she hits a 6-inning home run. We won the regional, beating Geneseo 1-0 in a pitcher's battle, and so she stepped up at times and had great hits for us. And she played shortstop for us, but it was one of those things when she go into college, she's going to play outfield. But one of those areas where, hey, wherever you got to get the bat in, you're going to play. If you play shortstop, play second base, I think she played a little bit first base at Tennessee, a little bit, played right field, and then finally the next year when she got her full-time playing, she played third base, and now that's where she's at Texas Tech. And fundamentally wise at third base, I think she's really grown defensively, and that's just the repetition of getting ground balls, and it sounds like her coach at Texas Tech, does the things the right way, and and it's improved her. And I'm sure Tennessee has helped her grow that as well. She's just a hard worker, wants to get better. So you kind of knew when she came in that she had something.
Chris Allison joining us right now and off there with Matt Randazzo. Coach, you look at it and she's been mentally tough for a long time. I mean, when you come to high school with the offer, quote unquote, and the reputation, she's always seemed pretty mentally tough. I would say it continues today. Transferring from Tennessee to Texas Tech and the hoopla that goes along with that and the social media nonsense that goes with that as well. She's always seemed to be a pretty mentally tough young lady. Was that the case when you got her at Rock Island? She seems to not just on the softball field, but handle things off the softball field pretty well as well.
Yeah, I mean, she when she got between life, she competed and played hard, and I never had any issues or anything. She was a great kid that was someone that did what she's supposed to, came to work and put her work in, and moved on and then came back. So I mean, I think it was probably been a challenge, making that transition from school to school with NIL and all that stuff. I mean, it's got to be tough, but she's actually putting up some good numbers and doing very well with what she did in the Big 12 this year. And the honors that she's received this year is going back to all of her hard work that she's put in through when she was 7 years old, all the way through high school and then to 2 different colleges she's been to.
She's made some big plays. The College World Series alone, obviously the 2-run homer the other day to give them the lead. You talk defensively. I love the play she made where slow roller to third, didn't throw to first, just threw behind the runner at second, and got the third out of the inning that way at third. Just watching the big plays that she continues to make, and I'm sure you're watching as well. What's it like watching a young lady that you coached for so many years on national TV making plays like that in the College World Series?
I mean, it just shows her softball IQ. And I listen to try to listen to some of the coaches, how they talk about different things and when they get done with their things, and just how about just one of those things, some of the things that they practiced. And, she had the sense of IQ to know that a slow roller is probably going to be safe at first and the girl was going to round, and she threw it right behind her. And, that was a big play. That was a huge play defensively, for her to throw a strike and then for the second baseman to be able to get it to the shortstop and then get the girl tagged out.
Absolutely. Chris Allison joining us right now and out there with Matt Randazzo. How do you watch the games? How do you plan on watching tonight's game? Obviously, it's a young lady you coached a lot in high school softball. Is it just quiet? And do you ever find yourself still coaching the games while watching the games on TV if she comes to the plate and those kind of things?
I'll sit home and watch the game and sit in my recliner or whatever and just kind of relax and watch it. But yeah, it's kind of interesting just to see how I do it. I mean, it's amazing softball, that they play and the fast game, and to see what the different coaches do and different things. It's I don't see myself trying to coach, but just trying to watch and see how things happen, and it's kind of impressive to see that. And it's a fast game, and they'll face a girl from West Des Moines, and it's 71 ain't not easy to hit, and then all of a sudden you throw a changeup or you got a rise ball and drop ball, and those are even the Gutierrez girl that's going to pitch. I mean, it's going to be tough, but she'll get in there and she'll get her licks, and her coach has really worked on helping all their kids hit, and they're putting some hits together, and hopefully they can pull it out as a team.
What would it mean? I mean, I think being in the national championship game is awfully good, but you mentioned, I think probably we talked yesterday on the phone, and when Brock Harding was winning an NCAA tournament game, it's awesome, and you can tell there's excitement here. What would it mean for the game of softball for the Quad Cities to have a young lady win a national? I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and you mentioned some lower but not D1 individuals. It's not every day that a Division I player from the Quad Cities wins a national championship. What would that mean to maybe our area and then also to the sport of softball that we talked about?
I think it would be great. And Taylor's one that I think likes to work with younger kids. So, hopefully people would, invite her to their teams or the organization and, have them talk and share the experience because I'm sure a lot of those, sometimes I know they used to have tournaments during the College World Series. And so then little kids would come and watch. And it would just, I think, help promote softball around here and get more girls excited that, hey, someone in their own backyard was able to, win a national title. So I think it would just help promote, more. But like I said, there's great softball around the Quad Cities. There's a lot of great players that have come through here many, many years before, I even started coaching. So, I think it'd just be big for now. And then someone, when she comes back home, they take advantage of her and she can share her story and, talk about different things and what she had to go through and, the highs and lows. And, it'd be a great experience for those small kids that want to learn from that. And even, I had Chase and Randall come to my high school team one time just to talk, because he, here he is, he went Stanford and he went Sweet 16 and he's, the kids were in awe because they knew about him and they knew what his story was and just kind of share what made him go. So I think that'd be great to, Evan Taylor can go to a baseball team or something just to talk about the experience, because it's a game within a game.
We've had Taylor on the show a couple times, and I joked with her once because I said, do you use y'all? Are you like, you're not getting too Southern on us, are you, with being in Tennessee and now in Texas? And she joked and said, no, she loves being back in the Quad Cities and what it means to represent this area. And I think we've seen that a little bit. I know that she's come back and talked to certain teams here and there, and if they ask her to, she's still pretty proud of the Quad Cities. I know she loved her time in Tennessee and the area that was and down in Texas now, but she's still pretty proud of the Quad Cities, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's her family's kind of been growing up out in Milan for many, many years. And I think it's just something that, she's, she likes it here. There's different things that she has. She has some friends that are, all back here and teammates that she's had. And, and she's got to experience a lot of different things because she was gone a lot of time. I mean, she was traveling all summer and, playing for teams from Georgia and different states and, meet up and go play. And that's where, she's probably faced a lot of these kids growing up that are around her same age that are in the, these big tournaments and big games that she sees and that she's probably already seen some of them.
No, absolutely. Okay, before we let you go, let's handicap or talk about tonight's championship game. We did a little bit, but obviously it's a rematch from last year's national championship game. Texas is in a. I really wanted it to be Tennessee, but that's besides the point. Texas is really good, and obviously they faced elimination, I think, 6 times. During the College World Series, and they've won every game. Texas Tech, you look at that lineup, Chris, and there's no at bat off. There's kids that are hitting 8, 9, 7, 8, 9 in that lineup that would probably be hitting 3, 4, 5 in a lot of lineups in the country. Really good pitching. What's it take tonight? Is it about not making mistakes and little things like that, or what's the difference maybe tonight?
Yeah, definitely mistakes. I think the Texas, they had some mistakes against Tennessee, but they just didn't get enough hits to be able to take advantage of those. Obviously you're going to have to play, clean, and your pitcher's going to have to hit their spots because you got some great hitters on both sides. It's not over until you get that last out. Those last 3 outs are going to be tough. And every single game, if it goes 2 games, it goes 3 games. Those last 3 outs are always the toughest thing to get. Texas Tech saw it against UCLA. The girl came up, hit that 2-run homer, and you had kids that stepped up, pinch hit. One girl hits a home run, another girl gets that hit off the handle, and then their big hitter, one of their big hitters, takes a fastball in the middle and then hits a changeup 250 feet, and then they're tied up, and then then obviously Texas Tech pulled it out. But it's going to be exciting. It should be great softball, and looking forward to it. Just for her to have opportunity to play in a national championship game. But there's a reason why both of them are there. They work very hard. They've had timely hitting, and they play good defense when they need to, and they pitch the ball, and people make great plays, and that's how you end up winning, get timely hitting.
Last one for you, Coach. You mentioned the recliner tonight. That's my cup of tea. Will there be any? Do you get into it at all? Obviously, you're not coaching her in a sectional championship at Rock Island or anything like that. But and I don't know if it has during this run. Any nerves? Any tense at bats, or do you try to calm down a little bit?
Just like to see her have a good at bat, and she has been lately having some good at bats, and just watching their lineup, just the Williams to and she's played with Williams, and I think in the past when she was younger, and then the Davis kid, and then the girl, the third hitter, I think she's one of the ones that been there a while, and she had some big hits, and then the List kid that came from Southern Illinois, and then Taylor's gonna hit fifth. So it's just we just want her to have a good at bat and pick her pitch out, but it's not going to be easy. Those pitchers are great on both sides. So it's just catch a mistake and be ready for it.
I love it. Coach, enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the T-ball games this weekend. I know it's grandkids now and maybe a little T-ball in this here and there. Get ready. We joked. They're getting to that point. You're soon going to be watching. You're going to be, if you haven't been over to TBK with 3 grandkids, you'll be over at TBK plenty in the next decade. So appreciate your time. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll catch up again soon. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, buddy. That is Chris Allison joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, former Rock Island head coach. There for 70 years, 8 years total.